Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on non-dilutive funding opportunities for cancer research and development. My name is Shira Aroni. I'm a Director of Business Development at the FreeMind Group and I'm pleased to be presenting in front of you today. To learn more about the FreeMind Group, you can visit our website freemindconsultants.com, and to be updated on the latest in non-dilutive funding, you are welcome to follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, as well as to join our LinkedIn group, Non-Dilutive Funding for Life Sciences R&D. At the end of this webinar, we'll have time for Q&A. You can enter your question in the question window on the side of your screen. You are also welcome to call or email me directly with questions specific to your situation or science. My contact information will be available on the last slide of today's presentation. So let's start with a short background on the FreeMind Group for anyone who may not be familiar with us. The FreeMind Group is a consultancy firm specializing in non-dilutive funding. Actually, we are the global leader in non-dilutive funding. Our main objective is to help our clients to win as much money as possible from non-dilutive sources. We have been around for 18 years, since 1999, and we have 60 full-time employees. We work across the life sciences, academics, research institutes, universities, as well as industry, from small startups all the way up to big pharmaceutical companies, and with organizations not only in the US but from all around the world. On behalf of our client, we submit over 450 applications every year, and that's a great deal of experience, knowledge, and expertise which we use to help our clients to increase their chances to win an award. So before we immerse ourselves deep into funding opportunities, I would like to discuss how to maximize your chances for funding in general. A company could submit a terrific application. However, using the wrong mechanism, their efforts unfortunately will end. This outstanding application will most likely be rejected, and for all the wrong reasons. We at FreeMind Group begin by identifying the most relevant funding opportunities for our client. Next, we strategize on how to maximize the application's chances for award by ensuring all aspects. We would also assist in the management of complex projects and lead a joint application writing process based on our comprehensive templates and ongoing feedback. Lastly, we would support final contract negotiation. It is important to see non-dilutive funding as a legitimate source of funding among VCs, bank loans, and etc., and to approach the fundraising mission in a very strategic manner. The total pocket of money is estimated, or from all of the sources, of course, is estimated at about $50 billion a year. Of this, the NIH is the main source of funding. Its budget for 2017 is $33.1 billion, with somewhere around $27 billion devoted for extramural research done outside the NIH itself, such as research project grants and R&D contracts. Even with some expected cuts to the NIH budget, it definitely stands as the largest source for non-dilutive funding in the life sciences. Taking a look at the budget of the NCI, the National Cancer Institute, which is the largest NIH institute, you can see that there is a constant increase throughout the years, while the most dramatic increase is in 2017, with a budget of almost $6 billion, the highest annual budget among the NIH institutes. The total increase since 2013 is 18.8%. While we do not necessarily expect this trend to continue, irrespective of any upcoming budget cuts, it is still safe to assume the NCI will remain an immense source of funding for cancer-related research and the largest institute in the NIH. Looking at the healthcare burden associated with cancer makes it pretty clear why there is such a high budget allocated for cancer research. The chart here comes from a study that was done in 2010 and is the latest one. This statistic comes out once a decade. So you can see that the total national costs for cancer in 2010 was $124 billion. And you can also see the categorical division between cancer type. For example, you can see the breast cancer budget for 2016 was $16.5 billion. Also lung, $12.12 billion. So it's definitely a big amount of money. While the cost of cancer for 2010 was $124 billion, the cost of cancer for 2020 is predicted to be at least $157 billion. Also, the worldwide cancer cases will increase by 52% from 2012 and to 2030, while the worldwide cancer death will increase by 61%. The primary cause of this statistic is the growth and aging of the US population. Here is a breakdown of the NCI research funding by cancer type, estimated for 2017. Just reflecting back for a moment to the previous slides, which indicated a cost of over $16.5 billion for research cancer, for breast cancer, it's not so surprising that about $700 billion is going to furthering in research in that area, in the breast cancer area. The others are very impressive either, with close to $400 million going to research in lung cancer and same amount of money dedicated to pediatric cancer and on and on. Please also keep in mind that this is merely a screenshot of the funding going to some of the types of cancer. There is definitely a long tail, so basically all kinds of cancer research have the potential to be funded. So in order to access these non-dilutive funds, there are two main routes. The first one is solicited, where specific solicitations have very targeted focus areas. They will be very detailed in what the funding institute is looking to support, and I will give you some specific examples in the upcoming slides. The second one is unsolicited mechanism, or investigator-initiated, parent announcement. It has many names. And under it, approximately 65% of all NIH awards fall on the unsolicited mechanism. So there is no specific call, no specific focus, no specific request for a particular type of research. This is really great because it allows a research to step forward and present wonderful science to the NIH. So now let's take a look at unsolicited opportunities under the NIH. The first one is SBAR. I would like to say a few words about the SBAR and STTR mechanisms. The SBAR, Small Business Innovation Research, and STTR, Small Business Technology Transfer, both of the programs accept early-stage innovative technologies that show promise of commercial impact in almost all areas of technology. Only U.S. small businesses are eligible for both of the mechanisms, and the main difference between them is that the STTR's most important role is to bridge the gap between performance of basic science and commercial application of the resulting innovations. Hence, they require cooperative R&D between small businesses and research institutes. The small business must perform at least 40% of the work, and the U.S. Research Institute must perform at least 30%. The remaining 30% of the work may be performed either by the small business or the collaborating nonprofit research institute or by a third additional party. To learn more about the SBIR and STTR, you are welcome to watch the webinar on this issue on our YouTube channel. So let's talk about this opportunity. This is an unsolicited SBIR from various government agencies. As you can see, NIH, FDA, CDC. This opportunity has, the budget here is $225,000 for phase 1 and up to $1.5 million for 2 years for phase 2. Like I said, the small businesses they are looking for they want the small business to have research capabilities and technological expertise to contribute to the R&D mission. Again, it's an open mechanism, so you can submit your idea. The opportunity has an STTR equivalent. The NIH STTR is PA 16303, and the budget is the same actually. Today is the deadline date, but because we know that this application will be expired tomorrow, but we are assuming that it will be renewed. So the upcoming deadline is expected to be on September 5th. Okay, so the second unsolicited mechanism is a R21, NCI Clinical and Translational Exploratory Developmental Studies. The budget here is $275,000 for 2 years, and unlike other institutes, the NCI has their own R21 mechanism, separate from the standard R21. They are looking for exploratory, developmental research, high risk, high reward. They are not afraid to take risks. So if you have a really innovative, groundbreaking idea in an early stage, this is your opportunity. The deadline here is June 19th. The third and the last one of the unsolicited mechanism is Parent Hour 1, NIH Research Project Grant. And this is for more advanced stage. So this is again an open and unsolicited mechanism. So you basically present your project to the NIH within the cancer scope, of course, and they decide whether they want to fund it or not. So if you don't find a specific solicitation that match your project, this is definitely a great opportunity for you. The maximum project period here is 5 years. And while currently this is one of the best ways to receive funding for oncology-related clinical trials, please note that starting January 1st, 2018, the Parent R1 won't fund clinical stage project. As an answer, the NCI is going to issue new opportunities that will fund clinical stage project, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and they will probably utilize the UO1 mechanism. And the deadline here is June 5th. Oh, so it's important to say, of course, the budget here is not limited, but need to reflect the actual need of the proposed project. Okay, so now let's take a look at a few solicitations for exploratory research and the imaging, screening, diagnosis of cancer. The first one is Exploratory and Developmental Bioengineering Research Grant. It's an R21. The budget here is $275,000 for 2 years. And here again, the encouraged submission of application which establish the feasibility of technologies, technique, or method that explore new multidisciplinary approach, high risk, high impact, like we mentioned for the first R21, and develop data that may lead to significant future research. This opportunity has an equivalent R1 for more advanced stage. And the budget of the R21 is up to $2.5 million in total. The deadline for the R21 is June 16th, and the deadline for the R1 is June 5th, the standard deadlines. Okay, here we see the high throughput screening, HTS, to discover chemical probes. The NCI is interested in high throughput screens intended to identify small molecules for use of molecular, cellular, or in vivo mechanisms or process of probable or known importance of cancer biology. Again, this program intended to support mainly the following 2 stages: HTS assays and hit validation. It has an equivalent R1 with no budget limitation, so it's always good. And the deadline for the R21 is June 16th, and R1 is June 5th, like the standard date. Here we can see that under the NCI requires a partnership between academia and industry. We can see here that the partnership required is academic and industry, like I said, of course. And they're looking for translation of scientific discoveries and engineering developments in imaging or spectroscopic technologies. The budget here is $500,000 a year for up to 5 years. So it's up to $2.5 million. Again, it's under the NCI. So then the deadline here is June 7th. Here is another opportunity that requires a collaboration, but here this collaboration is between life science and physical science. Also, encourage collaboration. They encourage you to apply a multidisciplinary bioengineering approach. It's under the NIBAB. It's basically for translation of technologies for cancer diagnosis and treatment. Here the deadline as a R1 is June 5th. Okay, so we're looking at now the opportunity of discovery of in vivo chemical crops. It's a R1. The budget here is up to $50,000 a year, up to 3 years, so it's up to $1.5 million. They are looking for application that will test new analog compounds. The NCI is particularly interested in validated hits for targets that address unmet needs in prevention, treatment, and diagnosis of cancer. The deadline here is June 5th. Okay, this is the last solicitation of the NIH. So the purpose of this opportunity is to invite researchers to submit collaborative research project. This is a UO1 under the imaging and biomarkers for early detection of aggressive cancer. And they also require to establish a consortium for imaging biomarkers to perform collaborative studies. Again, the deadline here is July 10th. Okay, so let's talk about the NSF, the National Science Foundation, that use the FBAR and STTR mechanism for U.S. entities. So this opportunity of the NSF seek to assist companies require additional research and development in order to advance commercialization efforts. The funding, the budget here is $225,000 for up to 1 year for phase 1, and for phase 2 it's $750,000 for a period of up to 2 years. Again, it's eligible United States small business concerns only. The NSF supports startups to develop innovative, disruptive technologies, nanotechnology, biomedical technology, and the deadline here is June 14th. Another opportunity by the FDA, Food and Drugs Administration. This one is clinical studies of safety and effectiveness of orphan product research project grant. The budget here is $250,000 a year for up to 3 years. This is for phase 1, and for phase 2 and 3, up to $500,000. $500,000, for a year for up to 2 years. The FDA supports the clinical development of products for use in rare diseases and conditions, and they provide grants for clinical studies that will result in market approval of these products. The deadline here is February 7, and next year, of course, so you have plenty of time. Okay, so now I would like to talk about the DoD, the Department of Defense. Under the DoD, we have the CDMRP, the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program, which come out once a year, usually around the spring, so it's basically now. The pre-announcements are already out. Okay, so let's talk statistics. The budget for the CDMRP's budget for 2016 was $1.065 billion across the programs. The award can get up to $5 million. Some programs cover clinical trials. 918 research applications funded in 2015. And as you can see, not surprisingly, breast, lung, ovarian, prostate, all of them are among the pre-announcements. Last year, the CDMRP annual budget for breast cancer was $120 million out of the $1.06 billion budget of the CDMRP. As you can see, there is also the peer-reviewed cancer research program opportunity that includes more indication of cancer other than the lung, breast, and etc. The submission process here is different. It's divided into two stages, main stages. The first stage is submitting a white paper, which is also called pre-application. This is basically a 2 to 8 pages with a description of your science. If they like your science, you are invited to submit the full application. Then they decide about the awards. The first review stage is the hardest one to pass, so the pre-application has to be very precise and according to the DoD's requirements. The deadline of this application will be announced later this month, so stay tuned. I would like to give one example of the opportunities. So the CDMRP Breast Cancer Research Program, this is Breakthrough Award Level 4. This is for large-scale projects that will transform the clinical management and prevention of breast cancer. This opportunity seeks to accelerate high-impact research with clinical relevance, encourage innovation, and stimulate creativity. This program provides funding for advanced translational studies that have potential for near-term clinical investigation and also small-scale clinical trials. Again, the deadline will be announced soon, so stay tuned. Okay, now let's take a moment to look at the NIH review process. I know many people ask about it. So putting it simply, in reviewing and considering whether to fund your application, the reviewers are looking at the strength and the risk of your application. The reviewers are looking at 5 main things, basically. The first one is the significance of your research to the public health. Then if it is innovative and will make a change. Third, do you have the right environment to support the work you propose? And do you have the right leadership and team in place to successfully lead such a project? Looking at the principal investigator, they want to make sure that the PI has the right expertise, knowledge, experience to manage this. But overall, the most important aspect to look at is the research approach, the scientific approach. They are looking at your milestone, your specific goal, and ultimately, top science wins awards. Next, I'd like to emphasize the need to target the right mechanism. As I'm sure you understood from the previous slides, there are many industry-oriented solicitations out there. It is very important to know your way around these mechanisms as they represent more than just letters and numbers. There are several different pockets of money for industry as well as academic industry collaboration, and you will need to identify the target, what is best for your project. It is vital to understand the different size of award and success rates, know the different funding level, and match them to your requirements and needs. And of course, conduct a strategic assessment. Look at your objectives. Where would you like your research to be in the next 12 or 24 months? And what is the potential for success for each research project? Now, for more broad perspective, I'd like to take a step back and give you an idea of our approach to non-dilutive funding and how to maximize your chances for award. First, all you need to know is the interest of the agency. What is on their agenda? What are they looking to fund? If necessary, communicate with the program officers. This is extremely important and valuable. You need to correlate the granting strategy with your long-term R&D plan. You need to identify all relevant funding opportunities that are out there and can be suitable to you. And most importantly, execute on long-term multi-submission granting strategy. Submit as many applications as possible in order to increase your chances to win. I'm sorry. Okay, so, oh no, okay, no, it's okay. So, we in FreeMind help you to maximize your funding potential through 3 services. The first one is identify all relevant funding opportunities. Our client strategies get an understanding of your pipeline, your goals, and your funding needs. Then they will lay out all of the opportunities that are out there and can potentially fit your needs. Second, we create a multi-submission granting strategy. And third, we submit as many top quality applications as possible. We help our clients to write the application in a joint effort. It is a ping-pong, back and forth, ongoing feedback, and once we both feel that the application is the best it can be, it is submitted. Our goal here is to submit as many top quality applications as possible during the time we work together in order to increase your chances to win an award. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending the webinar today. This would be a perfect time for questions. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Do I have to be a US entity in order to submit and win these awards? Okay, absolutely not. Out of the 20 opportunities I presented in front of you today, only 4 of them are for US entities. So 2 of them are SBIRs and the other 2 are STTR. Let me remind you that this SBIR and STTR present only 3.7% of the awards every year, so no worries. Also, the NIH is looking to fund an excellent, solid science. Don't care where you are from. It's more a scientific question rather than a geographic one. Let's see, what else? Okay, what if I couldn't find an opportunity that fits my needs? So like I said, there are 2 main routes within the NIH, the solicited and unsolicited. Using the unsolicited, the investigator-initiated, or the parent announcement, it allows you to present your idea in front of the NIH reviewers, and they decide whether or not to fund your application. It's an open mechanism that may facilitate your opportunity selection process, so this is your chance. Remember, approximately 65% of the awards are granted through the unsolicited mechanism, so there is definitely a potential. Okay. Okay, another one. If I have a clinical project and I couldn't find a solicitation, what should I do? Okay, so again, I talked about the unsolicited mechanism that can be best for you. Also, I would like to remind you that the parent R1 is the best mechanism for clinical projects now. From the beginning of 2018, the parent R1 won't fund clinical projects. Instead, each of the NIH Institute will offer other mechanisms, such as NIAMS and NIAID, that offer the UO1 mechanism, and we expect that the NCI will do the same thing. I'm sorry for that. Oh no. Okay, so there are a few specific questions here. I'll try to answer them by email because I don't think it's relevant for everybody who attends here today. I will send these slides as a PDF tomorrow. The recording and the presentation will be available on our YouTube channel. Thank you everyone again for being here today, and I'm looking forward to see you in our next webinar. Thank you.